So we are starting presentation 6. Object-oriented programming in PHP. So now, what is object-oriented programming? OOP stands for object-oriented programming. Procedural programming is about writing procedures or functions that perform operations on the data, while object-oriented programming is about creating objects that contain both data and functions. Okay, so object-oriented programming, so you have to create objects. Okay, the entire programming project is divided into objects. Okay, and everything is done by those objects. Okay, functions are executed by those objects, data are set by those objects. So the program is divided into classes and objects. So they are two most important components of object-oriented programming: classes and objects. But we have other concepts which show that we are using object-oriented programming, like inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction, data hiding, and so on. But two most important features of object-oriented is classes and objects. Each project, each application is divided into classes, and you can create objects from those classes. Object-oriented programming has several advantages over procedural programming. OOP is faster and easier to execute. So it is faster and easier to execute. OOP provides a clear structure for the programs. Yes, because we can create classes. Inside classes, we can arrange our data and so into different functions, and after we can create objects to execute those functions. So there is a good arrangement of programs, okay, and each task is put into a function. As you know, a function, it is a group of codes which are used to perform a specific task. Now, each task is put into a function, and then when we have all tasks arranged in functions, so it is easy. We only execute a function we need. It is not necessary to execute the entire program like we do in procedure. No, but we execute only a function we need. We execute only a task we need. That is why it is faster and easier to execute. Okay, because it is not necessary always to execute the entire program. We only execute that portion of program we need. OOP provide a clear structure. It is called clear because tasks are arranged in functions. Okay. For example, if we are making a calculator, okay, addition is put into maybe addition function. Subtraction is put into subtraction function. Multiplication is put into multiplication function. So the codes are clear and well and understandable. OOP helps to keep the PHP codes dry. So don't repeat yourself. Okay, don't repeat yourself. So another good important feature of OOP is called reusability of codes. Okay, when we put our code into functions, our tasks into functions. So as we discussed yes, that in the previous presentation, so the main importance in terms of functions is called reusability. We can reuse those codes defined inside a function. Okay, so if we need to execute a single task multiple times, it is not necessary to repeat those codes. Don't repeat yourself. That is the meaning of try. Don't repeat yourself. Okay, so we put that code inside a function and we can call that function whenever we need and wherever we need without repeating the code. OOP helps to keep PHP code dry, don't repeat yourself, and make the code easier to maintain, modify, and debug. Okay, as each task is in its own function and class, it is easy to maintain. Okay, it is easy to maintain the code. When there is an error somewhere, when a given function is not working properly, you directly go to that function or you directly go to that class instead of looking at the entire program. So you direct it because if the addition is not working well, but subtraction and multiplication are working perfectly, you directly go to addition function. It is not necessary to go to the entire program and start the code which is not operating well. So you see that that is a very big advantage of OOP. It is easy to maintain, modify, and debug. When there is an error, it is easy to find the error and it is easy to correct the error. OOP makes it possible to create full reusable application. So it is possible to make full reusable applications with less code and shorter development time. What are classes and object? What is a class? What is an object? So a classes and object are two main aspects of object-oriented programming. Look at the following. We have a class, we have objects. So from this example, we can automatically define classes and objects ourselves. What is a class? We have class fluid and we have objects, apple, banana, mangoes. And you see that apple, banana, mangoes, they are fluids, okay? And you see that these fluids, these apple, banana, mangoes, they are fluids, okay? So fluid is a class, apple, banana, mango, they are also fluids, okay? They are object of type fluid. So now, as you can see, an object, okay, it is an instance of a class, okay? It is an instance of a class. If we have classes of computers, okay, then HP, they are objects of class computers, okay? If we have a class of markers, okay, we have a class of markers. Markers is a class. Now, green, black, red, they are objects of class markers, okay? Now, this is an instance. This is an instance of class markers, okay? It is an instance, okay? So an instance, an object is an instance of a class. It is one element of a class, okay? Because a class is like a collection of objects of the same type. It is like a collection of objects. Okay, here we have a class of tables. One table is an instance. One table is an object. So everything that can have a name and properties and method, properties and behavior. Everything that can have a name, properties and behavior, we can call it an object. So this charger is an object, a computer is an object, a house is an object, whatever, everything is an object. A person is an object, a book is an object, okay? Everything that can have name, methods, and properties. Properties have this marker is green. Okay, the green is one of the properties of this marker. It can have what is the length of it. It is another property. Okay, so for a computer, the RAM capacity, the processor operating speed, they are properties of computer. The hard disk, okay, they are properties of computer. Now, an object is an instance of a class by definition. It is an instance of a class. So you can also say that an object, it is anything that is having a name, properties, they are characteristics, okay, of an object. Properties and methods. Methods, they are actions an object can perform, okay? Behaviors, they are those actions an object can perform. For example, a car can move, it can stop, it can accelerate, it can decelerate. Those are actions a car can perform, okay? A duster can clean, okay? They are actions. But properties, a duster, what is the color of a duster? What is the length? What is the height? What is the word? So anything that can have those properties and behavior is an object. And an object, you can also define it as a variable of type class. You can also say it is an instance of a class. Those are definitions of object. But you can define it as a collection of similar objects. You can also say it is a blueprint. A blueprint igishushanyo mbonera. Because before building a house, we should have a blueprint. Okay. Now, from that blueprint, we can build many houses. We can build many houses from one blueprint. So a blueprint is a class and a house is an object. Okay, that is the clear difference between an object and a class. So a class is a template. Template is the same as blueprint. So it is a template for objects. Okay, before building a house, you make a template. Okay, a blueprint. Okay, that is a class. Now, when you build a house from it, a house becomes an object. When you can build as many houses as you want. So it is a collection of similar objects. It is a blueprint of objects, and an object is an instance of a class. It is a variable of type class. When the individual objects are created, they inherit the properties and behavior from the class. Okay. Now, when you have a blueprint of houses, okay, you want to build 10 houses from the same blueprint. Now, each house will have properties. Okay, we have how many rooms, how many toilets, how many whatever from the blueprint. Okay, it is the blueprint which shows all characteristics of each house. Okay, so it is a class which defines properties and behavior of object, and if each object automatically inherits, okay, properties and methods from a class. Okay, so that is also called reusability of codes, because we define the properties and methods they are functions. We define properties and methods in a class, and then each object automatically, as soon as you create an object, it automatically inherits the properties and methods from the class. They inherit all properties and behavior from the class, but each object will have different values for the properties. Syntax to create a class. So this is how we create a class. We use class A1, then class name. We open the braces, then we close braces. We put the properties and the method there. This is how we create a class. We can do it and see. Let us save it as PHP. Let us call it class1 dot PHP. No, op1 dot PHP. Now let us open PHP tab. Then let us create a class. Now our class name is called maybe class A. We are not extending it. Now function hello. Hello equals good morning. Then echo this hello. Then after creating a class, we can create an object from this class. How do we create an object? We indicate a variable which is an object name. Object1 equals new, a name of a class, new A. Then we can use this created object to call this function. Then the created object is this one. Then object1 hello. Like this. Then we can save and we can run. co-host. OP1. PHP. And if I have private, so we should use an access modifiers, either private, protected, and public. So we should indicate the access modifier. So good morning is here. We can make it bigger. H1 center. So this is the output of our program. Good morning. How so we create a class. This is our class by using class keyword. Then you have to indicate a class name. Then we have to create properties. Properties, they are variables. Okay. Properties, they are variables and they are values. Variables and a value. And methods, they are functions to operate on the created variable. They are methods. Methods, they are functions which operate on variables. Then we can display the content of the variable by using this keyword. This keyword. This means this is the instance variable. Okay. In object-oriented of Java, so did you study Java? Okay. In object-oriented, we have instance variables and class variables, instance variables and static variables. Now, instance variables, there are those variables we access from by using objects. We can access them by using objects. So this is an instance function because to call the function we need an instance. So they are instance variables and instance functions. So to access them, those instance variables and the instance function, we need to create objects. They are both instance variables and instance functions. But we can also have static variables and static functions. Those static variables and static functions, to access them, you don't need to create objects because they belong to a class. Okay, so this table is for this class, this table. Okay, it belongs to a class, but we can have students in this class, and the students have their private properties. They have their private objects. Okay. Now this is a class object. Okay, but we can have a private student object. So when you come into a class, because this table is for a class and you are a member of the class, you can automatically use the table without asking a permission to any student. But if you want to use a phone of your neighbor, if you want to use a phone of your classmate, you need a permission of the owner of the phone. Okay. So now you see that an object, you students, you are in a class of students. Okay. In a class of students, we have some objects which belong to a class. Okay, it means any student can use any class object. For example, a table, a chair, a duster, without asking permission to any student. But if you want to use an object which belongs to your classmate, you need his or her permission. Okay, it is the same here. We have some variables and functions which belongs to a class. We call them class variables or class methods. In that case, they are indicated by static keyword. Okay, in that case, when we need to use them, we don't create object. Okay, but we have instance variables and instance methods. Okay, for instance variables and instance method, when we need to use those variables or methods, we need a permission of an instance. We need to use, so this hello, okay, is being called by the instance of called object one. Okay, so instance variable belongs to instance. Instance function belongs to instance. So to call that, to access that variable or to call that function, you need to create an instance by force. So you can see the output. So this is the structure of a class. It is composed by a class. Okay. Inside the class, we need to put variables and methods. Then outside the class, we create an object and we call methods. Okay. That's it. We can let us do another example. OOP2.php plus PHP we create a class as B, then function add A B sum equals A plus B object equals new B, then object and then 20 return sum return sum equal the sum is, so let us check if or OP2. Expected sum online.